So here recently there have been a couple different cases of false allegations against men and just even different crimes has swept the news because there's been two major cases that in recent years have gotten some significant attention that have been proven false. And it shows how badly it can actually affect a man's career. So the two situations that I'm going to be talking about today that are just prime examples of why this shit against men needs to stop will be Johnny Depp and Shawn Oakman. So the newest one, and really probably going to end up being the most popular one, is Johnny Depp's situation. Now, if you're unaware of what I'm talking about, Johnny Depp is going through a divorce, or has gone through a divorce really, with his ex-wife. This is Amber Heard. Now, she made a lot of different claims that Johnny Depp had committed domestic abuse, had been very abusive towards her, and just overall really made a bunch of different allegations against him that recently are beginning to be proven untrue. That actually really hurt Johnny Depp's career. You know how the internet is. People love to cancel. This whole cancel culture is in full swing. And even without all of the facts coming out in a story, very oftentimes this culture will just attack somebody because of an allegation, and then it's come out that the whole thing isn't really even true. As a matter of fact, Johnny Depp was the one who suffered any domestic abuse throughout this marriage. As a matter of fact, the allegations against Johnny Depp have quote-unquote been conclusively refuted by two separate responding police officers, a litany of neutral third-party witnesses, and 87 newly obtained surveillance camera videos. The lawsuit actually refers to an alleged incident in which Heard threw a bottle of vodka at Depp. Obviously, that's, pretty much the sole definition of domestic abuse, which resulted in an injury that required hand surgery. Now, I've heard that this actually cut the tip completely off of Depp's finger, and that he had to have this surgically removed, or the remnants of it really, and that, obviously, is what most of us would call domestic abuse. It then goes on to actually accuse Heard of punching Depp while he was in bed, kicking him on numerous occasions, and even staging her own attacks. Unaware that members of Mr. Depp's security team, including an 18-year-old veteran, or 18-year veteran I should say, of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, were just feet away, Miss Heard falsely began yelling, "Stop hitting me, Johnny," court documents state. The interaction culminated with Miss Heard making false allegations that Mr. Depp struck her with a cell phone, hit her, and destroyed the penthouse. There were multiple eyewitnesses to this hoax. Depp's legal team believes Heard fabricated her claims in an effort to propel her career as the #MeToo movement was in full swing. I mean, the evidence is pretty stacked against this, okay? 87 newly obtained surveillance camera videos, third-party witnesses that are neutral, two separate responding police officers. Come on now, the motive is there, the evidence is there. This is just, it's so hard to believe that Johnny Depp actually did this at this point that it would honestly be a miracle if this was pulled off. And this definitely has negatively affected Johnny Depp. He was canceled by cancel culture. So I think it's time for the world to apologize to this man for making, well, false accusations about him the truth. And this is part of the problem with these accusations. And I understand why people are definitely inclined to believe people who claim to be victims of crimes like this. I can understand why people can see Amber come out and say she's a domestic abuse victim from Johnny Depp, and they feel sympathy for her, and they want to believe her story. I mean, I understand people don't ever want to believe that somebody would lie about things like this, but unfortunately in the age of social media, in the age of where we're really at right now, this is definitely something that not only is super easy to really, I guess, build hype around and fake, but also to really profit off of, and that's the motive that they're claiming she really had. And if that is the case, she really did profit from this. She became a darling of the Me Too movement, which is an actual legitimate movement that unfortunately by people like Miss Heard has been delegitimized, really. And that's really unfortunate because the movement had very good intentions at the beginning, and there's a lot of people who were involved in that movement that actually wanted to make a difference about something that's important to society, and then unfortunately you have liars who take advantage of it, and that's just terrible. On top of that, she was the first actress who was named a human rights champion from the United Nations Human Rights Office. She was an appointed ambassador on women's rights at the American Civil Liberties Union. She was hired by L'Oreal Paris as its global spokesperson, which I think is like a makeup company. I mean, she definitely gained when it came to this. And I do want to take the time to reiterate to everybody that domestic abuse and claims like this and sexual crimes and things like this, these aren't something that the majority of people lie about. Most people don't just make this shit up for attention. You see a lot more cases of it becoming more public now because of how social media works and how really anything can kind of go viral and news stories like this can really blow up, but I don't want you guys to like look at this situation and be like, oh, I'm never gonna believe a domestic abuse victim ever again, because that's not the intention of this video, and in reality, that's just stupid. But then you have to remember the case of Shawn Oakman, who was a college football player at Baylor University. Well, he did play for Baylor University until he was falsely accused of rape. All the way back in 2016, a rape allegation against Oakman came out that said that he had met her at a bar, asked if he wanted to go to she wanted to go to his off-campus residence. He forced her into a bedroom, forcibly removed her clothes, forced her on the bed, and then sexually assaulted her. All of the popular media and stuff that came out about it basically ruined any chances that he had at making the NFL, and it looked like Shawn was most likely going to be locked up. This case and this story went on for 3 years, even after Oakman was supposed to even be into the NFL. As a matter of fact, he was actually projected to be a first-round pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, which is huge to a football player. Being drafted in the first round generally means that you're one of the best players coming out of your draft class. You're much more likely to get endorsements, sponsorships, and to actually be picked up by a team in which you can become a star on. But because of what was going on, he went undrafted, and then after that, he wasn't even expected to get signed as an undrafted free agent due to what he was facing. But then in late February of this year, he was found not guilty of sexual assault. The jury cited evidence for consensual sex and the lack of incriminating evidence for their decision. So unfortunately, Shawn, who had obviously a hopefully prosperous NFL career ahead of him, who could have become an actual superstar in the NFL, had his career basically stolen from him by somebody who falsely accused him of rape. Now, there's a lot of different reasons it could have happened, but what's more apparent really is that Shawn lost out on possibly tens of millions of dollars in endorsements, contract money, incentive money, bonuses, and more. So, Shawn unfortunately lost basically a whole superstar NFL career because somebody lied. And as far as I've ever been able to figure out, the woman who falsely accused him of rape has never been charged with any crimes. She has not faced, at least from what I know, any consequences for making up an accusation of rape against a man that costed him possibly tens of millions of dollars, ruined an entire career for him, destroyed his entire reputation in public, and caused him so much mental stress and probably trauma, honestly. And that's where things like this are unfortunately becoming a problem, because not only do these things ruin men's lives, and I'm sure that there's women who are falsely accused of things too, and I believe that the same actions should be taken against men who falsely accuse women of sexual assault or domestic violence, things like that. But I think I speak for everyone when I say that people who make up bullshit like this for their own personal gain or to ruin the reputation and lives of others should be charged with a crime. As a matter of fact, especially in false rape cases, why aren't the women who are making up these cases being charged and sentenced to the same amount of time that that man would have gotten had he been convicted falsely of rape? Why are people getting off on this, okay? Because people aren't going to stop just falsely accusing one another of these crimes if there is no incentive to stop. I mean, if you're facing 10 to 15 years for a false accusation of rape that could ruin somebody's life, you know, that should be plenty of incentive to not do it. But really, I would say one of the worst things about this entire thing and about these false accusations is that unfortunately it really takes away time, effort, and attention that can be focused on real accusations and real situations. Police and courts and the media and everybody is all focused in on this one case where somebody has been falsely accused, and it runs for 3 years like in Shawn Oakman's case, just to find out that he wasn't even guilty and that it was a lie. Meanwhile, in those 3 years, God knows unfortunately how many people were raped in those 3 years who never got justice for it, whose accusations basically went unheard. That's the big problem with this whole thing when it comes to how it doesn't affect the person accused. So not only does this person basically, unfortunately, get raped and have pretty much their entire mental state ruined and they're traumatized for the rest of their life, but on top of that, nobody really can do anything about it because everyone's focusing on this case of it. This is the important one, right? And it turns out to be false, and this person basically doesn't get justice and doesn't get attention because somebody else made something up. And then when they do come out about it, people are inclined, unfortunately, not to believe them because the whole media is just lighting up about how this case went this way and then it ended up being fake. I don't know what honestly would ever incline somebody to do something like this, but it's awful. And there needs to be more punishment against shit like this. Johnny Depp's name needs to be cleared. Shawn Oakman's name needs to be cleared. Thankfully, Shawn Oakman did just recently join an indoor football team, I think in North Dakota, so at least he's doing something with his career, but it's never going to make up for the millions that he missed out on. Johnny Depp's name might not ever be completely revived back to what it was because of these accusations. Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on my channel, follow me over on Twitter at @SubToptimus. I post memes, thoughts, and updates over there. Join the Discord down below, lots of great things going on there. Thank you to my channel members for your $5 a month. Your support helps my channel tremendously, and until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, getting falsely accused, and signing out.